Ahoy! And welcome to the Boating Hour with Captain Rick. The Boating Hour brings you the latest and greatest essential information about everything that sails, floats, or motors upon the high seas of Southern California. From landlubbers to old salts, there'll be something for everyone. So climb aboard and get ready to sail with Captain Rick.
Ahoy out there and welcome to the Boating Hour. I'm Captain Rick and I want to thank you for joining us here on AM 870. We're here every Saturday at 4 p.m. and please be sure to visit us on the web at theboatinghour.com. And now all over social media, Facebook, YouTube, Rumble. Make sure you give us a like and appreciate the show. We certainly need your support. And thanks to our sponsor for our show today, For a Healthy Gut, the best probiotic on the market, Livia One Probiotics, natural, organic, and allergen-free. And I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving weekend. I hope you're out there on the boat, but bring some turkey. And today, I have a wonderful guest for you. Michael, I want to thank you for joining Captain Rick at the Boating Hour. You're in studio, and we got a lot to talk about.
Ahoy, Captain Rick, and thank you for having me on today.
This is wonderful, and I want to say you're a boater. Can I call you Congressman already?
Oh, not yet, but we're moving closer and closer to that every day.
Okay, we'll plug your campaign shortly, but I want to talk about your boating experience because you're a boater. You remember the Westlake Yacht Club. You're going to be in their parade, which is coming up next week. So let's talk about your boating background, and let's plug and talk about the Westlake Yacht Club.
Oh, very, very good, and thank you. Started out as a Boy Scout, got really involved in a little bit of yachting, a little bit of sailing, and even some canoeing. Actually went all the way up to Canada, up north of New York State where I was raised, and did a lot of canoeing up there, but more so the sailing. And as I got older and older, we started getting into catamarans, and I really, really enjoyed that down in Hualtuco, Mexico, at a club med years and years ago. And I really got that flavor and that taste of sailing in my blood, so I enjoyed that immensely. And then now I'm with the Westlake Yacht Club, where I sail some of the C-18s, C-14s, and then once in a while get a taste for the terrors that we have out there.
It's a wonderful place, and I love Westlake Yacht Club. I'm going to try to make the parade next week. Next week, actually, we have Dave Ross from Delray Yacht Club, and he's part of the Christmas holiday parade in Marina del Rey, which is the following week. So we'll plug that in a little bit. You know, I have a kayak. It's called a caboat, and it's an inflatable. It's a little dinghy, and it rolls up like you got a little person in a sack, and you could put it in the back seat of your car, and it's a caboat, and it's a kayak, and you could put an engine on the outboard, and I think it's wonderful, but I don't get out as much as I should. I love kayaking and paddleboarding. I'm a dinghy sailor, so in Westlake Village, they don't allow the big boats, right? Isn't there a limit?
There is a limit. It's 18 feet. 18 feet.
So how long you been with Westlake Yacht Club? Tell me about being in Westlake, because you're running for office, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But when did you come to Westlake, and when did you start with the club?
Well, I've been in Westlake on and off for almost 20 years now, but I actually started residing there about 10 years ago. And interestingly enough, about 8 years ago, got engaged to Dorothy, my other half, my better half, at the Westlake Yacht Club. Interesting story. I ended up losing the ring as I was coming out to go ahead and actually propose to her with a whole audience there at the yacht club. And the current Commodore now, who is Greg Morrow, who was the bartender at the time, this is going back 10 years ago, found the ring. So he saved the day.
Good. How did you lose it? Did you drop it?
I like to sing, and one of the things I came out and I had a band and everything, and I was singing Fly Me to the Moon by Frank Sinatra.
Oh, my goodness.
And I changed into the clothes with a fedora and everything else, and as I was changing clothes, the ring must have fell out of my pocket.
So you're a singer, too. That's interesting, because your background and your career, I would never think that you were a singer. Tell us about your background, because you've got a real incredible background.
Well, to go ahead and keep it as short as possible, I'm 17 years old. I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do. My father was in the Air Force previously and had a history. My grandfather was in the Army and went into the CIA for almost 35 years, so he was the biggest mentor in my life. But 17 years old, went in the Air Force, went into electronics, worked on B-52 bombers and F-4 fighters, in a variety of different places. And then because I spoke a few languages at the time, was recruited by the Air Force Office of Special Investigations. Remember the old $6 Million Man show?
Oh, sure. I love
with
that.
Steve Austin and everything. Well, there's a real agency called OSI, and I was part of that. So did a little bit of training for counterintelligence, counterespionage, undercover narcotics. Did a little of everything. Was actually working in Berlin before the wall came down in that capacity. And then came back, worked undercover narcotics in Luke Air Force Base near Gila Bend, Arizona, and then went into white-collar crime with the Air Force Office of Special Investigations in Los Angeles when I moved there in 1988. And then after that, transition, worked that for a while with the United States Attorney's Office. They were prosecuting many of our high-complex fraud cases, and went to the Department of Defense Inspector General's office as a special agent still, and work with them, continuing on with healthcare kinds of crimes, as well as public corruption crimes against public figures. And did that for a total of about 31 years as an agent, retired from the Department of Defense, and then concurrently stayed with the military and ended up attaining the level of working as the California State Command Chief for the California Air National Guard, where I had about 4,800 people worldwide under my purview at the time. So I retired from that as well, opened up my own business as a private investigator, and now I work healthcare crimes and construction fraud crimes.
That's quite a resume. And did I hear you correctly that the $6 Million Man was a documentary?
Pretty close. Got to meet him, Lee Majors, many years ago. With
no kidding.
Yes.
Well, he stole my girlfriend.
Uh-oh.
I think Farrah Fawcett was supposed to be my girlfriend. And she was a beautiful lady. Of course, Charlie's Angels, one of the greatest shows. $6 Million Man, when that came out, I think that was the top show in the world at one time. It was a fantastic. So there really is an OSI.
There really is an OSI. And matter of fact, I see them recruiting constantly on their website, on LinkedIn and other venues. But yes, from my perspective, a little biased, but I think they were the best trained, best qualified in almost every criminal, civil, as well as administrative investigations venue that I've come across in my time. I actually worked with the FBI for about 8 years in Ventura, and did a lot of work for them there. And it was an interesting organization, but I think OSI had the best breadth of experience, knowledge, and the training programs that I've ever come across in my 33 years of experience as a federal agent.
Are they boaters?
They are a lot of boaters. Oh, yes, my gosh. I can tell you how many times out on the East Coast I used to hear them out there sailing away.
That's exciting. Okay, so Michael Koslow, let's talk about your campaign. So you're running for office, and I'd like you to. What's your website, and tell us what office you're running for. Give us the campaign speech.
Okay, I'm running for Congressional District 26, which pretty much encompasses all of Ventura County, most of it, and also West L.A. County, all the way up to Calabasas, up to Piru and Fillmore and Santa Paula. That being said, the reason I'm running is because of the simple fact is that I've acquired the leadership experience, the managerial experience in running both companies for the federal government, for the private sector with Anthem Incorporated, the insurance company, and now my own business. Quite successfully. I sit on the National Small Business Association back in Washington, D.C., the Leadership Council. So I have all this experience and knowledge, and just one day I was talking to some folks on a flight back from Washington, and it came to me that it just a little bit frustrated like a regular, any other American right now, regardless of party affiliation. And really it came down to the fact that somebody's got to step in there and try to do something about it and get this cohesiveness with the different parties to be able to go ahead and look at everybody's the same. Everybody's fed up and frustrated with the economy, with foreign affairs, with education, safety and security, the border. All those things are coming up. And I have the experience, the knowledge to be able to go ahead and get that cohesiveness and get that collaborative spirit going so that we can go ahead and get something done as opposed to what we see in Congress now is the infighting, the arguments.
It's awful. It's awful. The bickering. It's like junior high school, especially what we heard recently. They're just fighting. And it seems like once the campaign's over, it seems like everyone in office fights and argues and looks at their next campaign. Are any of them working?
Well, that was the question that came up this morning on the news, is that it's really difficult. I was listening to a couple of the congressmen talking about the fact that they spend more time arguing and fighting over internal issues versus actually those that are important that benefit the American people. And that's what I want to do.
Well, I definitely support. Do you have a website for the campaign?
I do. It's www.votemichaelkoslow.com.
That's awesome. So you're listening to us, and we have a boater. Let's go back to Westlake Yacht Club. Do you know the history of Westlake? I've talked about it a little bit. I've had guests. But let's reinforce the history of Westlake itself, because it's an absolutely amazing lake, and it's a wonderful town. I'd like to move up there and retire and get a house on the lake. Is that possible these days?
Oh, certainly. Anything is possible, Rick. Anything is possible. But it is a wonderful community. It goes back thousands of years to the Chumash Indians, as you probably well know. And the Chumash Indians were settled that particular area. And then the Spanish had come in and set up but 21 missions, if I remember correctly. And the that Spanish influence is there as well. So we have the Chumash Indians, we have the Spanish influence, and then when California became a state, in I think it was 1850, if I remember
1858,
correctly.
I think it was.
And when
I think
1848 was when we signed the Guadalupe Hidalgo.
Oh, so it would have been right after that. So it was probably, you're probably right, probably 1850.
And all that being said, and then the landowners, and that got divided up, and then over time. California became very, very diversified. We know it's very, very rich. And then in about the 1960s, the Hawaiian American Shipping Company came in about 1960, 62, bought up the property and started developing that. And then about 69 is about when Westlake Village started really, really materializing into the type of community that it is now. And even more so, it became incorporated as a part of L.A. County and then Ventura and Thousand Oaks.
Yeah, it's right on the border, so you can be on, I think the Westlake Village Inn and the Stonehouse Restaurant, I think that is L.A. County, and across the street is Ventura County.
It is. You can walk. It's almost like going across the international date line.
Wow, it's kind of... And I saw you there at Tobacco and Talmud near Simca,
yes.
The Rabbi Barkley, who's been on a couple of great shows, and he's an amazing guy, and I love the Tobacco and Talmud. And everybody's welcome the first Wednesday of every month near Simca, the temple out at Westlake Village. Rabbi Barkley, you can look him up. He was on the Sebastian Gorka show, and with what's going on right now with the tragedy in the Middle East, and Hamas and attacking Israel and the college protests and stuff. If you're in office as a congressman, first of all, I'm going to ask you later if you have a budget for the boating. Do you have anything to do with in California on the budgets that go towards the boating and waterways? Is that one of the things that you'll be dealing with?
And the maintenance of the waterways as well, yes.
Okay,
yes,
so that'll be a subject. I follow politics with regards to the harbors and the oceans and how it affects marinas and the boating. I was following when they passed the no copper in the bottom paint, and they wanted zero copper in the marinas, testing for zero copper. And a lot of people don't realize there's copper in your blood, there's copper in water. Without copper, there's no life. And so they really didn't know what they were doing. And they banned copper, and now you have boats that they don't have good they're trouble with the bottoms because you get all these crustaceans that grow and it becomes poison. So they haven't solved that problem. But the boating and waterways was going to fund it, and then they ran out of money. And then Arnold at one time was going to put that in the general fund and eliminate it. I think he saved it, the governor. Oh, wait a second. Was that actually real? Or was that a movie? I think that might have been one of his movies. I'm confusing his movies. Was he actually governor? So I'll be following Governman. Yeah, the governor. I actually liked him. I think he did a pretty good job. So yeah, well, what are some of the things that you'll be doing, as congressman? Because it's a big district. It's all of Ventura County.
All of Ventura County, except a small sliver of the downtown Main Street area.
Okay, and then you go into West L.A.?
Go into West L.A., West L.A. County.
Oh, West L.A. County, got
West
it.
LA, towards Calabasas.
Towards Calabasas, got it. So you're way out there. All right, let's talk about Westlake Yacht Club a little bit. That's a wonderful yacht club, and I understand that building is a historic building. So do you know about the origins of the building itself? Well, the origins of the building itself was the great Frank Butler, who had a wonderful boating line, Catalina Yachts, and he built it that's why you have such a it's really tall so that he can have boats in there with the masts. And I guess he lives on one of the islands. He was an iconic figure. And Catalina Yachts, they used to build them all out here. California had a lot of the independent boat builders here for a long time. Now because of all the rules and laws, we can't have them out here. But we had a lot of the boats were built here in California, Santa Ana and down in Anaheim and down towards Newport Beach. You still see the remnants. Shock's still around, I think. And Duffy's, of course, here. So Duffy Boats, which is an amazing boat, and they're coming out with some new ones. We'll be talking about that at some of the future shows. So what boat are you going to have in the Christmas parade, which is coming up next week? Which is
next week, yes, exactly. Now I'm going to put my mechanical Grinch up on the front, not reflecting my personality in any way, shape, or form, but okay. I'm certainly going to put that up there. But yes, I have an Electric Craft 16-footer.
Okay.
And as you know, the lake only allows and permits electric boats. So the limit is 18-footers. But yeah, we're all going to be out there in full force. The Yacht Club sponsors that every year and has a Christmas parade. And I highly encourage everybody to come out and take a look at that because it's going to be a spectacle in and of itself. Well, a very, very positive influence for those that are interested in the youthful sailing programs and other programs out there.
I didn't know that. So the club itself sponsors the parade.
That is correct.
I found out that around the lake itself, there's more than a dozen homeowner associations. Every little group, so there's like 15 or even 20 HOAs.
Yes.
I was talking to one of the old, lake managers, and he said that all of them form one group, but every little area, what a wonderful place. I think those houses are way out of my reach, though. Let me see at the station. Mr. Producer, you think there's a budget for the station to put a recreational house up there? Oh, well, it was an idea. We can join Westlake Yacht Club. One of the things I got to tell you, Michael, that I talked about this many times before, when you're a member of a yacht club, you don't need to own a boat. Most clubs have wonderful youth programs. I know they do at Westlake Yacht Club, but you get reciprocals everywhere you go. And I'll tell you, I'm a member of a couple of clubs. I'm helping resurrect Howard Hughes' club, Marina Yacht Club, which is at the Marina City Towers, which has been closed. They've had some problems with management even before the pandemic started and the lockdowns. So we're resurrecting that club. I've been a member of a dinghy club and also Santa Monica Windjammers Yacht Club, which is a wonderful place. They have a lot of exciting stuff going on. Wonderful clubhouse right over the park, and we're going to be looking at the following week at our Christmas parade from the balcony. So we get to see that. But you get reciprocals everywhere you go. And when I travel, whether it's locally or regionally or even out of the country, they treat me like a VIP. And they roll out the red carpet. They're always exciting. I bring a burgee from one of my home clubs, and I do a burgee exchange, and I dress up real nice. And then I come back to my club, and I'm like, hello, is anybody going to say hello to me? It's like I'm not even a member. But when I travel, that's one of the beauties of reciprocals. And all over the world, it's really fantastic. So I enjoy that on the yacht clubs. But yeah, there's a wonderful youth program at Westlake Yacht Club. And they got, what do they sell? You know what the youth sell? What are the little boats?
Typically the lasers as well as the terrors.
Okay, well, the lasers, I used to like being in a laser. And what we would say when we'd go out on the laser is, I'm going swimming. Mm-hmm. Because they're one-man boats and you are getting wet. So you see the laser sailors. One year, Marina Del Rey hosted the Nationals. And there were so many lasers, from young kids to experienced adults, some people looking to start their debut so they can make the Olympic team. And, oh, my goodness, everybody's in wetsuits. And then I went to Lido 14s. I haven't seen any of those in the lake, but that's a wonderful boat. You can trailer those. And so I guess the Terras now, that's what they race in college and in competition, and there's going to be Terra classes, both men and women and co-ed in the Olympics.
And we have some of the bigger boats, too. We have the C-14s and the C-18s even, too. So those boats get out there. Matter of fact, we had one of the largest turnouts for this last regatta. Every month we have a regatta on the lake. And we had about 36 boats that were out there this last time. Matter of fact, all the boats that we have in the fleet, with the exception, I think, one, were out there on the lake this last time in the race in the regatta. And sitting up there and judging up in the tower it's interesting to really see. And to your point, watching the terrorists almost going over, and we sit there and we have to say to ourselves, "Uh-oh, that one's going over." But no, they were able to go ahead and pull it out because of the expertise and the training that they've had in the sailing process and the program.
Are the sea boats? The C-15 is a boat that you can hike out on a wire. Are the C-14s and the C-18s, are they the same boat? Is there a wire where you lean out to right the boat? Is it a two-person boat? It's
a two-boat. The C-14 typically can be a one or two, but it's preferred with two. C-18, it's probably advisable to have two people on that.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I got to go out and cover. I didn't know you had a regatta every single month.
Yes. Matter of fact, we just had one this last weekend, and it turned out well. And just to see the smiling faces of the youth and the young folks that do so incredibly well. And when they do win, even if they get recognition, it's a major event every month.
Michael, or Congressman, I'm going to a little positive thinking there, projecting. We're running out of time. I think we're just getting started. Any chance I can get you to come back next week and come in the studio? I have a wonderful guest that's coming in, Dave Ross from Delray Yacht Club. He's part of the Christmas holiday boat parade in Marina Del Rey, so we're going to talk about that because that'll be the following week. But next week, can I get you to come out? And I got a couple more questions for you on your campaign, on living in Westlake, on your career, and the club itself.
It'd be my privilege.
Join me early, and then you can get out there and get to Westlake, and then we'll see you on the. Is it a Saturday or Sunday? What's the date of the boat parade next week?
Typically, it's a Sunday.
Oh, it's a Sunday. Okay, that's good. So we'll get you next week. We'll talk a little bit more. I got a couple more questions for you. And your boat. What's the name of your boat?
It is. Oh, here we go. Nautical. AYEI. Spy.
Oh, I like it. Okay. It's an electric craft, so it's an electric boat.
It is. It's a 16-foot.
We don't see much of those in some of the harbors like Redondo Beach or Marina Del Rey, but we're starting to. We're starting to see them because there's a lot of activity within the harbor itself. So those boats, the Duffy boats or the electric craft boats, are wonderful to cruise around the harbor. We used to call them cheese and cracker boats.
Yes.
So we'd say, look, there's a cheese and cracker boats. So
every once in a while, a glass of wine is in there, too.
Yeah, I think more than once in a while. But on Westlake, the village, everybody has docks. If you're on the lake itself, they've got docks just out there, right out their backyard. Now, do those homes along the lake, do they own those docks, or do they lease those docks from the lake itself? Do you know how that works with the
both? Actually, you have some. Everything is overseen by the Westlake Management Management Company, which has oversight. But yes, there are homes that have their individual docks that they own with the home, and then there are others that are rented or leased out by either the yacht club itself or some of the HOAs.
Okay, that's wonderful. And I've reached out to them. I'd like to get someone to talk about it. I reached out to John, one of the founders, who runs his property, which is the Westlake Village Inn and the Stone House, a couple restaurants there, an absolute amazing world-class spa that they built with waterfalls. So I've reached out and tried to get him on the show and people from the lake management, maybe some of the HOAs. But the HOAs, I tell you, there was a great episode on Steinfeld where all they did was argue. So I'm not sure about the HOAs, but maybe I'll get some of them. I'm sure some of them are own property and right on the lake. So let's. I got a few more questions for you. We'll get you back on in the show next week, and we'll have another guest, and you could sit in for that, and you can compare your two parades. So that would be wonderful. So we'll see you back next week, and a lot of exciting stuff. We're coming into the holiday season, and almost every harbor that I know of is going to have a Christmas boat parade. Newport Beach goes on for a week. I think it's the only one. They go on for 3 or 4 days. I was there once, and I'm a member of the Newport Beach Elks Yacht Club, which is a lot of fun when I'm down there. I got to get somebody on from the Newport Beach Elks and the Elks Yacht Club. But yeah, their Christmas parade goes for a long time. Well, that's all the time that we have for you today, and I hope you enjoyed our show. As always, we're so very fortunate to have such wonderful and exciting guests. I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, and I hope you're with family and eat lots of food. And let me know if you got leftovers. Give me an email, and Captain Rick will show up on your boat to eat some of the leftovers. And let's not forget the Coasties, protecting our waters, America's lifesavers and guardians of the sea. Remember, if you do it right and follow the guidelines and safety precautions, there's no place like being out in the water in the fresh air and sunshine in beautiful, sunny Southern California. Thanks to our sponsor for the show today. For a healthy gut, Livia One Probiotics. Don't forget to visit us on the web at theboatinghour.com and now all over social media, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. The Boating Hour with Captain Rick. I want to thank my guest for coming in. Thanks, Michael. Keep your emails coming. This is Captain Rick saying ahoy and fair winds to all.